Hello, guys, and welcome back to Between the Ropes TV. Another day, another preview. Yas, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm not too good. We've covered the other big trilogy of the weekend. This one I'm not so excited about, and the best I can say about it is Derek Chisora is a much better fight for Tyson Fury than Manuel Charr. Can you get me any more excited than that, Yas?
It's a trilogy it's a trilogy that no one really wanted to see. I find it quite hard. I can't sell it to you if I'm honest with you. But hey, this is the trilogy that people are not really talking about like that. Obviously, it's two big names, Chisora versus Fury. Um, Tyson Fury, world champion. Alexander Usyk, the other world champion. That's the fight that we'd ideally like to see. But, obviously boxing politics always comes in the way. But the fight's here now. I'm not really I will tune in, but I'm not looking forward to it too much because the way the first two fights have gone, Fury conclusively won them. So it's really hard to get up for.
No, definitely. I mean, just on Chisora, before we get on to Fury, Yas, I think it's fair to say, I mean, their last fought in 2014, end of 2014. Obviously, as we know, Fury back then in a much more reserved, unorthodox style, boxed Chisora, broke him down, and Chisora retired in the 8th round. Now, since then, I think it's fair to say, over the last 4 or 5 years, Derek Chisora is a much better fighter. We saw that link up with David Haye. We saw this persona of War Chisora. And for me, he's probably been, pound for pound, one of the most entertaining and exciting fighters in Britain to watch. We've had some great Derek Chisora nights. Are those improvements and changes? Is there a case at all for him getting the win here?
No, I don't. I'm not really convinced. Although we've seen a rejuvenated Derek Chisora who now lives the life. He trains hard. He's in a lot better condition physically, and he knows that he's not the best of boxers, so he's got to come and slug it out. So he knows what he has to do to win fights. And I just feel as though, although he's had some pretty good wins, and he's kind of redeemed himself with the British public over the last few years. I just feel as though if you just look at the caliber of fighters that he's kind of going toe to toe with, Tyson Fury wipes the floor with all of them. Let's start with his last fight. Yes, it was a very good win for Chisora against Pulev, but we know what Pulev is. He's not exactly a world beater. So obviously it's heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen, and all it takes is for a shot to land. But I just feel like Tyson Fury, he knows that he's too good. He's too good for him. He's beaten him orthodox. He's beaten him southpaw. He can win this fight in many ways. And the Tyson Fury of now, who's actually sitting down on his punches and he's getting people out of there. So that just reduces the probability of Chisora winning for me.
No, and that actually leads me on to my next point nicely. Obviously, we've seen a more aggressive Tyson Fury since he's come back from the mental health issues, the team up with Sugar Hill Stewart in particular. And he's on a 3-fight stoppage streak as well, which is worth mentioning, against Wilder and obviously Dylan White, who obviously the latter is also beating Derek Chisora. Although the first time was a bit disputed for me, I had Chisora winning that fight. But obviously, this week they've talked in the build-up about meeting in the middle of the ring from the first bell and just battering the fuck out of each other, I think was their exact phrasing. Would that be a mistake from Tyson Fury? Because that is a Derek Chisora kind of fight. And whilst I totally agree with you, I'll be honest, I can't see any other result other than a Tyson Fury win. As much as I'd love Chisora to do it, I am a fan of his, I can't see it. But I also think if you're Tyson Fury, don't fight a Derek Chisora fight because there's no point. You don't need to. As you said, he can win it many ways. Don't make life harder than it needs to be. Is that fair to say?
100%. I would agree with you. Obviously, this is heavyweight boxing, like we said. All it takes is one shot, and we've seen Fury in his recent fights with Wilder. He's been down a couple times. He's taken a few big hits. So yes, of course, he keeps beating the count every time, but one day your body will give up on you. You can't continue to take big punishing shots. And obviously the training camps in as well, cutting the weight. Obviously we know Fury's weight fluctuates, going up and down in weight. That takes a lot out of you. and then taking all these shots as well. That wouldn't be a wise move, but I just feel like that's just kind of to sell the fight. But Fury's, I feel like he's smart. His corner won't let him do that. And I feel like this fight, Fury wins it how he wants to win it. If he wants to box off the back foot, he can box off the back foot. If he wants to go southpaw, he can. But me personally, I've got Tyson Fury closing the show. I feel like he's going to play around with him a bit. Maybe let Derek Chisora land a few big shots, but just to make it seem like it was a tough fight, because he's been bigging up Chisora a lot, saying, "Oh, Chisora will beat this guy, that guy he's tough, blah blah blah." And yes, he is, but he's not on Tyson Fury's level. So I've got Tyson Fury playing around with Derek Chisora, pretty much doing what he wants and stopping him about round 7-8.
See, I'm going to give my prediction in a minute, but you jumped the gun a bit there because I wanted to ask you about, two quick last things on this fight. Obviously, one, it's in London again. We know about the Fury family's troubles with going over to America, which personally for me is the only reason Derek Chisora has got this fight. Obviously, he wanted the Wembley showdown, did it with Dylan White, set records. I think he'd have been back in the States for this fight this year if it wasn't for those travel issues. But what do you make of ticket rumours? Obviously, straight away off the bat, Frank Warren was giving it the shoulder roll. We've sold 50,000 tickets within 24 hours. I deliver for my fighters and all his usual garbage. But then there's been no further updates. And since then, there's been rumours that only the bottom tier of the Tottenham Stadium will be open. Eddie Hearn sort of said he'd heard that 30,000 tickets had been done. But in fairness to Hearn, he said in this climate with that fight, that's actually still not a bad return. We used to seeing stadium shows be packed. So what do you make on these rumours? And do you think it's fair? Because I'm a Chisora fan, but I'll be honest, I wouldn't be paying to go to Tottenham to watch this when I can watch it on telly, because I don't think it's competitive enough.
No, I 100% agree with you. Obviously, the climate right now obviously is very hard for the economy, etc., to be going to these kind of fights. And obviously, I think the fight, we haven't heard nothing ever since, because straight away they said we sold 50,000 already. And we know how Frank Warren is like, he would have, by now, he would have told us straight away, yeah, we've beaten the Joshua Usyk fight, which was actually 67,000, I think they done. So he would have made that clear, of course. So obviously ticket sales are struggling, but I think that's the case for all shows right now. It's very hard, but one thing I don't agree with is the pay-per-view price. And like you just said, I wouldn't buy, me personally. I know I can watch it at home. I'm not gonna buy a ticket to go and watch a fight that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. So yeah, I don't quite agree with it, and I feel like they could have done the fans a bit more of a favor with the pay-per-view price. But then again, that goes to show maybe the tickets are really struggling, like people are saying. Hence why they've got to make up that revenue in the pay-per-view.
No, definitely. That was going to be my last point on this, the pay-per-view price. I mean, and you're going to be, you came on the right day, Yas, because this gets me into another Frank Warren rant. And I feel terrible saying it because I'm a Derek Chisora fan, but there are multiple clips of Frank Warren saying over the last 18 months, Derek Chisora needs to retire. Eddie Hearn needs to stop, sort of like milking the Chisora train. Let the man go out in peace. He's had a good career and all the rest of it. But then as soon as his golden boy in Tyson Fury wants to give his mate a payday, okay, we'll give him the payday. That's obviously the attitude. And fine, okay, yeah, it's a stadium fight. I understand Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, for the most part, as long as the dance partner's respectable, which Derek Chisora is respectable, it's a stadium fight. I get that. But to then come and say the pay-per-view price needs to be put up, and this is the same Frank Warren that slagged off the Joshua Usyk 2 pay-per-view price, for him to then put this up when you're saying Fury Chisora's a man who should have retired. Frank Warren, I've said it many a time, so it won't be a shock to anyone who watches this channel regularly, but he needs to do better. I think it's an absolute disgrace. And I am going to be paying for this pay-per-view myself, and I'm going to be sat there for the whole night, angry, shoulder rolling my eyes, and wondering where the hell Umar is off IFL so we can do another propaganda interview. That's all I've got to say on it. I'm sick of Frank Warren. There's nothing really for you to add there, yeah, so I apologise, but it just needs saying. I think it's disgusting in this climate. to be ripping off the fans. You know, you got Tyson Fury. And again, I'm a Fury fan in the ring. I'll fight Joshua for free to air telly, free to get in. Oh, but actually, the tickets at Spurs are going to be very expensive, and we're putting the pay-per-view price up. Walking contradiction. Tyson, you know, for his mental health struggles, for me, he owes the fans a bit more honesty, and also just stop lying to the fans, because there's big fans of his that probably won't get to watch this fight now because of the prices involved, in all fairness. I'm thinking of younger kids and stuff. I know if I'd have asked my mum and dad as a kid, can I have $26.95 to watch Tyson Fury Chisora, they'd have laughed me out the building. So I'm not happy about it, yes, but there we go. Moving down the card somewhat, another Frank Warren disgrace. Daniel Dubois versus Kevin Lerena. Now, yes, I hear you say, who the hell is Kevin Lerena? And I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. He's a former cruiserweight, southpaw. He's experienced. He's coming into it with a record of 28-1, 14 stoppages. I'm sure he's ranked 14 with the WBA, hence why he's obviously eligible to fight for Daniel Dubois' world title, the regular. Notable wins. You're laughing, yes, but it's just not funny, mate. But they've both stopped Bogdan Dinu, you know, that very well-known, very well-respected heavyweight that no one else has ever heard of. He also outputted Marius Wack recently, who, in fairness, Marius Wack's a decent enough name and was a good fighter a few years ago, so I'm not going to knock that. But the shock for me, some people are predicting that Lerena is going to cause Daniel Dubois problems on social media. There's a lot of calls about that. I can't see it, so talk to me about this fight, Yas.
Well, like you said, Lerena is a southpaw. You know, they're in Dubois' camp, and Warren, they seem to think that Daniel Dubois is going to get into some kind of shot against Usyk. So they're obviously preparing for that. I feel like it's very hard to find someone who can mimic and emulate what Alexander Usyk does. You know, this guy that he's facing, I've done my research earlier. He's a very small heavyweight. He's 6'1". So Daniel Dubois is going to come in with a massive size advantage. Even when you look, I think I saw a picture of them two, I think doing a little face-off. Dubois is so much bigger than him, so much more size than him. And obviously, it's just, he's got a box to instructions against this guy. I'm sure, obviously, again, under Shane McGuigan, who I think is one of the best coaches in the UK right now, he's going to give him, set out a decent little game plan, follow some instructions. For what it is, I do see Dubois blowing him away, probably within 4 or 5 rounds. But yeah, I just want to see him probably, if he's really going to go for it next year and roll the dice. I feel like he needs to take his time in there and just work on, you know, just get the rounds in, work off behind the jab, etc., rather than going in there and blasting him out within a round.
No, 100%. And this is the thing for me, as you rightly pointed out, Shane McGuigan's one of the best trainers in the country, possibly in the world. And you can see Dubois making improvements. But for me, he's been so badly promoted and so badly managed, we're not getting to see what he can really do. And I don't think this is an opponent that's necessarily going to give us any answers either, because like you said, oh, he's a southpaw, we think we're going to get Usyk, that's what we're doing. You can't emulate Usyk. Usyk's a generational talent, love him or hate him. So that's just a ridiculous statement. For me, after Hughie Fury pulled out for the second time with Michael Hunter, they should have took the Michael Hunter fight. Hunter would be ready to fight because obviously he's been in the world's longest camp to fight Hughie Fury. And I think also for Dubois, he's 25 now. He's 18-1, 17 stoppages. For me, his biggest win is still Nathan Gorman. Possibly people may argue Trevor Bryan last time out. But for you, Yas, would the Michael Hunter fight, if he came through that, would that start to then put some credibility on Dubois' name? Because I can't lie, for me right now, Dubois is at risk of becoming a bit of a joke of boxing.
Yeah, 100%. I think getting someone like a Michael Hunter on your record, because Michael Hunter is kind of avoided by the top guys. You know, he's been in there with, you know, Povetkin. He's had a few good fights. He even fought, I think he fought Usyk at cruiserweight as well. So, you know, Michael Hunter is not a joke, and obviously he's American, so you can imagine he's obviously out there probably getting a lot of good sparring and that with the variety that America has, and obviously he knows his way around the ring, and he's been making a lot of noise for a little while. You know, like I'm pretty sure after the Diller, I think he'd probably be one of those fighters who he'd be chomping at the bit to fight Dillian White after, you know, the performance that he put out on Saturday. So 100%, I would agree. If he could get out against the likes of a Michael Hunter, that would do him very good preparation, because Michael Hunter's not going to bowl over as soon as he lands and he hits him on the glove. He's not going to bowl over. He's going to come. He's going to talk the talk, and he's also going to put up a good fight.
No, 100%. And Dubois, he needs that now. And I know he came unstuck against Joe Joyce's jab, but from what Joe Joyce has gone on to do, there's no shame in that loss in any way, shape, or form. And you know, we're never going to knock as a channel, as good as it is to see undefeated fighters. If you step up and lose, credit to you, because you've took that step up. I'd much rather see him.
Yeah.
You know, now he's protecting the one loss. I'd much rather see him step up again, but come unstuck again, than just keep fighting these sorts of people. So we'll wrap up there, guys. Let us know in the comments your predictions for both fights. And yeah, we will be bringing reactions. They won't be live. We will be doing pre-record. So plenty more content coming over the weekend. So stay tuned.